Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Beyond the Bends podcast. Okay, so we'll firstly jump on and admit we have been slack,
really slack.
with the podcast series before, but we're back. It's a new concept. We're going to come outdoors. I'm going to show you my chest if you're watching.
So everybody needs to see that.
We're going to come outdoors every Monday from a park in sunny Lisbon.
A different park each Monday.
Yeah, there's a various amounts of parks. So we're going to be coming out every Monday and doing you a podcast. Okay, so we thought, what's the best way to start this podcast series? And as we've been slack, it's going to be on habit
forming.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about habit forming today. With both embarking, it's synchronicity or not, we're both embarking on separate 40-day challenges. Today I'm going to go alcohol free.
You hold him to that.
For 40 days. Which
I've said it live now.
I've said it live, I'm committed. I'm going to do no booze for 40 days, and that'll bring me right up until Christmas Eve. So for my Christmas present this year, Santa, I want some beers.
It's party time.
And then Polly, do you want to explain what you're going to be doing?
And I've embarked on today a 40-day consecutive Kundalini Yoga meditation challenge, which was actually set by one of my Kundalini Yoga students for us in our little sister circle, which is basically 40 days of Sakkata meditation, which is basically, I think, one of the most powerful heart openers in the Kundalini practice.
So yeah, we'll actually put this in the description of the podcast. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, just click the description and I'll put the link in there as well if you want to join us on this meditation. You can join at any time. If you're listening to this, it'll always be there, it'll always live there, and you can embark on that at any point. So what's the point of you doing this then?
Yeah, so we're talking about habit forming, and habit forming is probably one of the main benefits that you would get from 40 days consecutive of any practice. But I suppose in the past I've done lots of different 40-day meditations. When it comes to Kundalini Yoga, if we're practicing it with a little bit more of if we're more of an avid Kundalini practitioner, we tend to practice it for 40 days because 40 days is the time in which actual changes start to happen. Okay, so physical changes in the body, we can actually revamp the nervous system, we can start to work on a cellular level when we're meditating for 40 days. It starts to change our brain and balance out the three minds, so the positive mind, the negative mind and the neutral mind, which if a little bit out of balance, specifically the negative mind, if it's a little bit out of balance, you can become overthinking, you can get anxious, you could be very fearful of the future and possibly be ruminating on the past. And so that fear-based element of an overactive negative mind can shut off the heart space a little bit. So one of the main benefits of specifically this Sakkata meditation that we're working with is it brings you back to the heart space quite powerfully. We're working with this movement, Sakkata, pushing energy out from the heart space into the rest of the world. And we're starting to develop intuition, we're starting to develop self-awareness, we're starting to develop compassion instead of spending too much time in the head. So one of the main things that it's doing is this really consecutive practice is it is calming and tranquilizing the mind. Sorry, I just hit you then. Calming and tranquilizing the mind, bringing you back to heart-based living and forming a really, really, really constructive habit. Kundalini Yoga in general is probably one of the most powerful things when coming to a big 40-day stint. It's called the Yoga of Awareness. We're working with physical movement, we're working with breathing, and we're working with sound to heighten our consciousness, to develop self-knowledge, to work from intuition, so from the heart space instead of the head space, and to activate our true creative potential as human beings, our Kundalini energy. Everybody's got it, it just gets blocked. And some of these really, really fabulous habits of 40 days, which is a real challenge, can help to bring us to a higher state of consciousness. So that was a long explanation, as usual.
No, it's good, and I think actually we're speaking about the topic, habit forming. I think one way or another we're all just built on habits anyway. So like, whether we're good or bad at the moment or whatever we're doing, it is just a habit, and that's how.
There's no such thing as good or bad either, though, is there? It's like what you feel is not working for you.
If you're injecting heroin into your eyeballs, that would be pretty bad.
Which
and
I
a
do
bad
on a regular
habit.
basis.
No, but you know what I'm saying is that we're formed from the bottom up of habits that we've picked up, other people's habits that we've picked up. We're all actually just creatures of habit, and sometimes I think these 40-day stints that we're doing, like for me, I'm going to do my very, very best to try not drink any alcohol, and I will do it. It's going to be tough, but I think it makes awareness of yourself as well, and stepping back from habits that creep into your life that might be generations of stuff that go way back. If you abstain from this for 40 days, I'm sure you're going to see some benefits on anything so little. You know, it doesn't have to be something like a meditation or something, quitting alcohol. It could be something so little of just setting your alarm an hour earlier and getting more out of your day instead of sleeping in for an extra hour.
And it's the repetition as well, isn't it? Repetition is the mother of skill, as Tony Robbins says. But it is the mother of skill, and I think for me this is why these longer challenges, these real big stints are so beneficial, especially nowadays, because I think we're bred into a world of that breeds laziness. We're encouraged to flip between things and get very, very distracted. We're not encouraged to master things. We're not encouraged to try as hard as we used to. You know, everything's at the click of a button. We don't have that sort of like craftsmanship that we might.
It's getting worse as well. Like it really is. Everything is at literally the click of a button,
and it makes us lazy. And so, if anyway, a 40-day habit is number one. It's challenging yourself to first of all come out of that comfort zone that you're living in. That sort of. Everything's easy, everything can be done at the click of a button, and instead it's just starting to challenge that discomfort area. It's like, you know, we're going a little bit deeper inside ourselves, we're looking inside something that for you, alcohol, you're saying wasn't serving you. For me, you know, I was actually struggling in the head a little bit recently. You know, I was overthinking a little bit. We've all had a collectively strange time, that's for sure, with lockdown and stuff like that. So I think just the four corners of living inside my house, that's why we've come out to the park, actually, to broaden our minds a little bit. Living inside the house and working inside the house, it got me a little bit clouded, it got me a little bit sort of tense and tight. And so I thought I'd bring myself back to the heart space by sticking to a really fabulous challenge and getting out of the head a little bit. So I think it can...
There's a saying, isn't there, humans are suckers for punishment. Now, I'd actually sometimes disagree, but they're a real sucker for comfort. And that's why we don't set these. This is the first challenge I'll ever do. I'll ever do. Yeah, that's how bad it is already, day one.
The first and last challenge I will ever do.
No, it's the first challenge I've ever done, shall we say. And yeah, I'm a sucker for comfort more than punishment. You know, I might be punishing my body with these substances and whatnot, but
it's still comfortable.
It is comfortable, yeah. It's easy, and even like I think the hardest part of anything is getting started. And we were talking about this early on the way up, and Polly's just done her first day of the meditation, and she's like, bloody hell, I feel great already, and I know that I need to do this all the time. Because
first of all, you know, you've shown up to yourself. I think this is a really important and integral part of this challenge that you're setting to yourself. It's showing up to yourself. So if I'm not showing up to myself, and I'm going to give you a quick reason of what I have been doing recently where I haven't been showing up to myself, is I've been getting up in the morning, I've been just getting up and working, doing all my admin, working. It's getting to like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, like I haven't even eaten, I haven't done my meditation, I haven't done my yoga, and I've been teaching and I've been doing all this stuff that I absolutely love, of course, but I haven't actually looked after myself. And this morning, I set the challenge was there for both of us. I was like, right, do you know what? I'm going to do my meditation, I'm going to eat some porridge and get some good nutrition into my body, and I'm going to come to the park, I'm going to do a podcast. So I've already set up this very small routine, I'll get back into that sort of morning routine. And it's made me feel like I've showed up to myself. which is really, really important because we often forget ourselves in this day and age. We always think that we're the least important person on our list, and we're not.
And it comes and goes as well. Like you've had so much discipline in the past, haven't you? You used to do a Ashtanga every morning for how long was that?
Thankfully, I don't do that anymore.
For every morning, yeah. And
yeah,
so
4 a.m. every morning. That just was a habit that was great for many things, and also fed my OCD in many ways.
But like this is sort of, getting back to the point is that. It's something you've had within you and you've done before, so it's something you know in your heart of hearts you can do again. And
I know how beneficial it is when you do it.
Yeah, I mean, 40 days does seem like a long time, and for some people, not drinking for 40 days is easy, you know. But for me, it's going to be a challenge, and I'm looking forward to battling some demons along the way, battling some self-discipline as well. Like, oh, go on, you can have a pint. It's only one. And
you only live once.
All
your
these
ego
sayings.
starts to say these things, and actually, this isn't. Whilst we've come into that, that's another thing that's I think is really important when you're coming into like something like a 40-day challenge or even a week challenge. You know, it's hard enough sometimes to stick to something for a day, isn't it? Really. You know, I haven't done the coffee challenge yet. I'd struggle with that without a morning, wouldn't I? But I think one of the things that we struggle with when we come into such a long challenge is what Don's just said, is the ego likes to take over. The ego wants a short-term fix. So you're there trying to bring yourself through this really, really positive action-based challenge where you know it's going to give you some really profound results at the end. And your ego is thinking otherwise, because the ego likes short-term fixes. So the challenge is really set from your spirit, isn't it? The challenge is set from your heart. It's been driven from much more of some inner awareness. Whereas the ego, all the way, is going to try and sabotage you. And that's why it's really challenging, because the ego wants a short-term fix. So the ego will go, oh, I'm feeling like shit, I'm going to have a pint, because I deserve one and it's going to make me feel better. But that's a quick fix. And the difference to know whether your higher self or your heart is speaking compared to your ego is speaking is the ego's going to want a short-term fix, and it's going to tell you don't need to do the challenge, just go for a pint, it's going to make you feel better, or you don't need to do the challenge. Do you know what I mean?
It's only one day of your meditation.
It's only one day.
You can catch up tomorrow.
Yeah, you can catch up. Just do 22 minutes tomorrow instead of 11 minutes. Is that 11?
Yeah, well done. You're getting better.
I'm not a maths
She's getting better.
So that's the difference to know whether the ego's speaking or whether the soul is speaking. Soul wants long-term fix, always the most hard, challenging option, the one that we don't always necessarily we feel resistance towards. And the ego wants a short-term fix. It wants a plaster. It wants a quick fix, doesn't it? So you can always tell which is which. And that's where the rocky road starts to get you.
It boils down
challenges.
to awareness as well. If you can actually separate them two things, and you become aware that, well, actually, is that my higher self talking or is it my ego talking? Yeah, once you know that, stuff does get easier as well, you know. But yeah, we're setting out on this challenge. We thought it'd be very fitting to start the podcast again. There's a lot of things that come into this, like we've been slack with the podcast before, so coming here every Monday or do a different park, that's going to get us into a routine. We're both starting new 40-day challenges, and we thought, what better way to start the podcast with actual habit forming? So guys, if you do want to join our meditation challenge, I won't be doing a link to no drinking challenge. I think everyone knows how to not do that. But if you guys want to join the meditation challenge, we will be putting a link with the meditation below this podcast. So yeah, have a look in the description, whether you're on Spotify, iTunes or Facebook or wherever you're watching this from, guys, or listening to this from, guys, just click on the description and there is a link to join this challenge, okay? And let us know how you're getting on with it. If you need any more tips and stuff, we'll help out. It will be delivered to your inbox, so you'll have access to our emails anyway, and we answer every single email personally. So yeah, if you want to join us, that would be great.
Before we go, I want to just leave a couple of tips actually as to how to, if you are thinking about doing a long challenge and you think it's really, really daunting, I want to give just a couple of tips, and because I've done quite a few of these 40-day meditations before, or 40-day kriyas in Kundalini Yoga. It's quite a natural time for us to do it, because that's when you start to see the profound shifts in the body and in the mind. But some of the best tips that I can give, if it's something you want to embark on, you think it feels extremely daunting, then I've got a couple of good tips to give. So the first thing to do is make yourself accountable. So get a group of people. That's why I'm really looking forward to doing it, because I've got my Kundalini sister circle that I work with, and we're all accountable for each other. It's like, have you done your meditation? Have you done this? Have you done that? Or I've pulled a little card after I did my meditation this morning, and it was intuition, which is perfect because it's the heart space, and I just shared it with my ladies, and it encourages them to come along and do it. So it might be that you have a little WhatsApp group with somebody, or obviously you can join us and do that, but it's really important to be accountable, number one.
Just to throw that in as well, if you are doing this on your own, like for me, I've got no WhatsApp group, I'm doing this stuff, yeah, of course, but if you are, say you're on your own and you are jabbing heroin into your eyeballs and you think this is enough or whatever, going back to that, make yourself accountable I've just bought a journal, and I'm going to do it that way. So it's just me, my thoughts, and my pen and my paper, and I'm going to go through it like that. And I still think that's another way of accountability. Maybe it's something you don't want to share with others, maybe it's something you don't want to start a WhatsApp group, but don't make that not account for yourself. That's I totally agree with what Paul's saying.
No, it's sort of what I meant by accountability in that respect. Is like, it doesn't have to necessarily be accountable with other people. Another way to be accountable for yourself is to write something down. Like, you buy a little jotter, it's just for your meditation, it's not for anything else, and you just start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and once you start to write it down, it physically comes out. There's more clarity in what you're doing. It's not just sort of like some ethereal thing going on inside of you. It's accountability, isn't it? You've put that stuff on paper, or even a little thing which is probably quite a nice thing to do, because obviously we live in the Instagram day and age, just putting a story out every day to help encourage other
vlog,
people.
Yeah, anything like this.
So I'm going to do a story every day. Once I've done it, I might do a little bit of inspiration that's come from that day's meditation, and it's made me accountable. So that's another way of being accountable. It doesn't have to be with people. It can be writing it down. It could be just putting out a story, trying to inspire somebody with it. That's also another way to do it. So that's one tip, making yourself accountable somewhere along the lines. Even ringing your mum up or whatever and just saying, make sure you ring me every day. Set an alarm, ring me, make sure I do it. Something's got to be there to help you keep going. The second thing is, you need to have a reason for what you're doing. It has to be a reason usually that's bigger than yourself. So not something such as, I'm doing this just because I try and see what it's like. For me, I was feeling like shit in my head. I needed to do something proactive about that, and I'm a proactive person, so I'm not just going to sit around and feeling a little bit clouded and foggy and fearful in my head. I'm going to do something about it, because that's the sort of person that I am. So having a real reason as to why. I was like, I'm not going to wake up with this low vibrant energy for one more day. I'm going to sort it out now, okay? Because that starts to trickle into your daily life, doesn't it? Into your business and into your relationships and into a relationship with yourself. And
I think again, it has to be, like you just mentioned, bigger than yourself. It can't be just a false promise that you make yourself. How many times do we do this in our head already as well? Tomorrow I'm going to go out there and do that artwork that I said, or tomorrow I'm going to buy that camera or whatever, and you've still not got any of them things. So it needs to be bigger than yourself. And for me, it's my health. I know how much I've struggled with addictions and stuff in the past. I've always had a drink problem. not so much now, but back in the day, very much so. My bar tab was massive. I was drinking 50 pints a week. And I've much cut it down since we've moved to Portugal and met Paul and got more into the health and wellness thing. But still, it creeps into my day. Nothing like 50 pints a week, but here and there I'll just stop off and have 2 or 3 pints, and then we'll go home.
Thankfully, they're just doing imperials about the size of your little finger over
here.
Yeah,
but it's still there. So, and I know from what I've done in the past that a little break will do me well. And also it's a challenge for myself, and it is an ego versus spirit battle, and I'm gonna make the spirit win. So that's the reason for me.
Yeah. So having a reason, there needs to be a reason, and then accountability to go with that reason. Because it's your spirit, it's your driving force, right? You know, say you're running a marathon and you might be running it for some charity or something that you really, really, really believe in, and something that keeps you going in that marathon is the fact that you've run it for a charity. And this is, for me, I think a really important thing to keep your spirit ignited as you going through the challenge.
And on the tough days, it's the thing that pulls you through.
It's the thing that pulls you through. Your body can pull you through some point of it. Your mindset pulls you through another point, but the real thing that pulls you through is your spirit. So, and these habits really form that sense of spirit. You know, they form your intuition, they form that higher consciousness. So it gets easier actually as you go along through the habit. So they're the two things here. Another one thing is, try and stick to the habit. If it's something like a meditation, for example, to be at the same time in the day. Obviously, with Don's thing, it's a little bit different. But if I'm to talk about something like maybe a meditation or a yoga challenge or something like that,
even a practice,
practice of some sort, whatever it is. Even your accountability. Say Don's writing it in a journal, he might write it in at the same time in the day. And the thing that does is it sets a routine into the habit again. So, you know, like you've got your routine of brushing your teeth, it's just a natural thing you do, you brush your teeth.
It's a tick box as well in many ways.
Time, yeah. And that comes also with setting it in your diary, making sure you are giving that time for yourself, putting it into your diary, doing it at the time, you know, obviously give or take some moments. If you can't do it at that time and it's just impossible, it's more important that you do it than don't. But a very specific time is always helpful, and I always think the morning is better. Because what that will do is, if you do it in the morning, your new habit is, remember, it's the most important thing you're doing at that time. For that 40 days, you're really you've set yourself something. It's such an important thing to spend your time doing that. If you can do it in the morning, first of all, you set yourself up for the day. You set yourself up for the day, so you've got more time to feel brilliant with what you've just already achieved. You've already achieved something massive. You've done and stick to that challenge before you've even started work. Really big achievement. Really,
if it's any abstinence from anything, I'm going to do mine on a night because the days are wrapped up and I can go, yes, I've done it. But if you're actually getting out there and you're setting yourself a 15-day yoga challenge just to get back into your yoga journey, do that in the morning, because guess what, as the days go by, you feel mint, your day becomes better, you're vibrant, your energy's up, everything's better.
And you're not thinking about it all day long. Sometimes you tend to think, daunting. And eventually, if you're thinking about it all day long, you're thinking, oh, I've got to do that thing that I've set myself, and it becomes a task instead of enjoyment. And it's all, remember, we've got to have joy with this as well. And also, it's easier to forget it, and it's easier to not do it when you're tired.
And you've got more time in your head for your ego to try to talk your spirit out of it. So if you do it early in the morning, your spirit's already won the battle. It's a boxing match between your spirit and your ego. Remember all this. So if you just knock your ego out in the first round, you've won, you know?
Remember, ego is plasters, short-term fixes and distractions. Spirit is hard, challenging things that are actually going to push your life or transform your life further. And I suppose that's it then. A few little tips there.
So yeah, whatever. No, I just want to say, whatever it is you're starting in it, this is a forming a habit or breaking a habit. Keep with these tips and let us know how you're getting on. And if it's a yoga meditation that we're doing, remember that is in the description below. So if you want to do this meditation, it's 40 days long. Or if you just want to get in touch about this subject, whether it's habit forming, our inbox is always open. We're not a bunch of robots, we're real people. Our tagline's Raw Honest Yoga, and we answer everyone's email. Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. There'll be plenty more of these from live locations around sunny Lisbon. And yeah, we look forward to carrying on this habit with you guys for Beyond the Bends. Much love.